Hello there and welcome to the video. So, I'm in North Macedonia. I'm playing the European Club Cup. Yesterday I played against one of Spain's absolute top players, David Anton Guerrero. And today during dinner I found out that he actually went on the official broadcast and had a look at the game. I haven't seen that, but you know, Alex Holowitz, he told me about that, so I need to check that out. Not every day that you get, you get to play such a player, and to hear his thoughts is very interesting. So I need to do that. But second round, and my team, the Reykjavik Chess Club, we got paired down. We played a team from a local team from Macedonia, but we were favorites. We were the rating favorites on 4 boards. They had kind of a funny setup because the guy I was playing on board 4, he's rated 2004. So I outrate him by a lot. But the guys on boards 5 and 6, they were like 2160, 2100. So the guy I played, he's a young guy, so they have some belief in him. And I did check out his games. He had some clear weaknesses, but also some tactical strengths that I was aware of, and he had some scopes. But okay, I did not really prepare much as my opponent didn't have a lot of games, and for me it's more important just to conserve energy and play what I usually play, or improvise over the board. If that's the case. I only saw one game in the French, and he played after e4, e6. He played d3. The king's in the attack, and I have a system there. So if he had done that, I would have just played against that. But he played d4, and okay, no need to stop there. Okay, I have the score sheet here, so I can check out the time spent during each move. He played 92. So, I'm going to play d5 anyway, so I just played it, and then I will see what he does. He can play e5, he can take a d5, which I kind of expected, since I outright him by a lot. But he played 92. So he wants to play a game. Of course, I was happy with that. Now, most of the time I'm playing knight f6. I have probably thousands of games online with knight f6, excuse me, and most of my games, live games, have been with knight f6. So I felt like, okay, just in case if he is, prepared, I'm going to play c5. I haven't played it in a while, so that's what I like about the French. I can, mix and match. I can play knight f6, I can play c5, I can play bishop b7. Take on e4 sometimes, so, you keep your opponent on your toes. You can't be too predictable. Okay, he plays the main move. Let's get the database up. He takes d5 is indeed the main move. He played that. I took with the queen, which is more of a modern treatment. Well, modern for some 20 plus years. To take with the queen. If you take with the pawn, you have to play with the isolated queen pawn, which is alright, but most people are doing this. Knight g to f3. And I took on d4. Now, most games in the database, 13,000 games, go bishop c4. A lot of theory that I used to know. So I kind of know my way around these things, but haven't played in a while. But given the rating discrepancy, I was ready to play this. But he surprised me, and out of 13,341 games, only 2 have featured the move that my opponent played, pawn to g3. And I think there's a reason for that. I don't think it's a very good move. Now, when you play knight d2, I mean, inherently this is like a little bit of a passive move because you're blocking your bishop, but there are some reasons, to play this. And in this line, one of the reasons is you protect this square, so you can play bishop c4 with a tempo. So I took with the queen has to move back. And you already spent some time. You played e4 and took on d5, so can you really, sack this pawn and then just play g3? I thought not. I played knight c6, he played bishop d2. And I thought for a bit, okay, I thought for a bit before I played knight c6. And I thought, no, actually, I thought for 10 minutes before playing knight c6, thinking, how do I want to set up? Because if I play nonchalantly and if I allow him to take, like, play knight f6, bishop b7, if I allow him to take, like, play knight b3 and take on d4, then he will have kind of a good position with somewhat of a Catalan bishop here, which will be good on this diagonal. A lot of arrows, sorry, but that's the gist of it. So I need to hang on to the pawn. That's what I thought. And I'm happy that I realized that I can play g6. And I've checked this a little bit with the computer, and the computer agrees. Best move, g6. Okay, the downside of white's setup is that, if you move the knight, your bishop is hanging on g2, so you have to castle now, which he did. But bishop g7, and he still doesn't have a threat, sorry, bishop g7, yeah. So, no threat, knight to where, doesn't matter. So he played knight b3. Now he has a threat, finally, to take on d4, because he will open an attack on my queen. I went back to d8. I thought it was useful, the computer agrees, queen d8 is the best move. Queen d6 is played in some lines, but I don't want to get, hit with bishop f4 or maybe knight d2, e4 or c4, which would hit the queen on d6. Sorry about that. Queen to d7 is played in some lines, but I felt it wasn't as... yeah, I didn't want to play it here because I thought he should play actually knight e4 earlier, and now he can do it kind of with, with kind of time, knight e4. And where does my queen go? Let's say I go queen c7. Well, I don't know. I think the knight is more useful in e4. So I thought queen d8 was best, and I think that's correct. Rook e1, I got on with my development. And his problem is like bishop g5. I think I can just play f6 and e5. And I hold on to the pawn with no problems whatsoever. Bishop f4, castles. And here, let's see. I spent some bunch of time in the opening. And he had a 30-minute dance after queen d8. After rook e1, knight e7, bishop f4, castles, which is what we have. We had evened it out. And here he thought for 24 minutes. So now I had a nice time match. And he decided to go for the pawn. I think black is much better here. I managed to protect his pawn. If he does nothing, I play this. The bishop gets out, I connect everything. I'm just up a pawn for basically nothing. So he has to act, and he tried to play rook e4. Now I thought for a bit here, and I played knight d5. I like this move. Because I put in the question on the bishop, and I checked this briefly on my phone. I waited out to a decent depth, and for 10 consecutive moves, I played the best move. I think this is the best move, because I'm threatening to hit him here on f4. If he takes on d4, I will take on d4, and then on f4, and he has a choice. This loses a piece, and this I play f5, and he has to give up the exchange, play rook e5. I take it, and it must be better. Maybe some small compensation, but not enough. If he retreats the bishop, I have time for f6, e5, I'm much better. If bishop g5, f6, e5. So he ended up playing bishop to e5. Which is a positional concession, which I gladly accepted. I took on e5. And at this point I was thinking, what is my opponent doing? He's playing horribly. He's making this too easy for me. I played f6, and he played knight f3. And here I realized, okay. He has a point. He's not completely stupid. Because if I play e5, he's going to take on d4. So e5, take on d4. That's what I thought at first, rook takes d4. And this drops. And if this happens, I'm actually worse. So I can't do that. Okay. Having realized my opponent's trick, I needed to find out, what can I do. If I play f5, I can't play e5, so he gets the d4 pawn. Unfortunately, I can't play e5, which is what I did, and it's the best move. Now, if he takes with the f knight, which he did not, then I will not take on d4 and allow rook takes d4. I will play f5 first, hit this rook, and now I'm protecting this with a bishop. So next move I can take on d4, and he's lost. So he actually has to take with a b knight, which is what he did. And I think he thought I missed this, but obviously I saw this. But I spent 70 minutes, which is a lot, given that I had 32 minutes. I had a time match, but after my next move, I was down on the clock, which is not good. But the reason I spent so much time is, originally I wanted to play f5, hitting the rook. But then he will take this. I will take back. And if I do nothing, he'll play f4, he'll play c3, and how on earth do I get rid of these knights? He's down the exchange, he has a pawn, but the knights are so strong. White is just better. I was trying to make f4 work, for black to play f4 here, but probably it doesn't work. Thought about a lot of knight retreats, knight e7, knight b6 with the idea maybe at some point to jump here. Knight e7 just to be solid, because I thought, okay, when he takes, I'll decide, do I play f5 or do I retreat? And I thought, if I just retreat, I move like this, he has to move the knight. At some stage I play f5, maybe e4. I have the bishop here. I was up a pawn earlier, but I traded that advantage for the advantage of the bishop here, and position is open, I should be better. And the more I thought, I thought for a long time, but I think it was worth it because I found the best move. I played queen b6, which the computer agrees with. And I was really happy. I've been playing since like move 6, 16, 11 moves, which I think were more or less the first choice of the computer, including this one, rook d8, 12 moves. Very strong, because I'm coming to a d file with tempo, I'm threatening this, so he has to move the queen, which he doesn't want to do. But he did, queen f1. And here I have a choice. At some stage I can play a5. It's a good rule of thumb when you have a knight on b3 or here. You can dominate it with a pawn here, and then you can attack it with the flank pawn. Like here you would attack here, and here on this flank you attack here. So a5 is a strong move, but I thought, okay, I'll play bishop f5, tempo, rook has to move, rook a8. I attack the pawn, tempo. I kind of missed this next move because it's a little bit unnatural. It didn't really cross my mind. I thought he was in big trouble here. But he has, I think, only 2 moves that basically just don't lose on the spot. Okay, he played bishop h3, which is an interesting way to, diffuse this bishop. I thought for a bit about rook takes c2, but I didn't want to complicate matters too much. I mean, probably he takes on f5, I take on e2, and then, my extra pawn isn't too good. So I thought I'll take and play a5. And I thought his queen is out of play. I still have the initiative. I have my pieces are better, This knight is good, my rooks are active, his not so much, and I'm threatening a4. He prevented it by queen h4, but I kind of reintroduced the threat with knight to b4, and also threatening the pawn here. We can't really play this because it just take and the knight hangs. So I played c3, and it doesn't work on this side. I played knight d3. I believe he can just play this, and my knight doesn't get out. And he's protected. He's protected this knight, so we can't do that. So I played knight d3 pretty quickly. And he played here. Now we were in time trouble. Move 24. He's down to 3 minutes. I had 4 minutes. And here I saw a pretty cool opportunity. I think I played this game pretty good up to now. Computer thinks I should have played queen a6 instead of what I played, with the same idea. I briefly thought about king h8 to prepare what I did, and maybe that would have worked out perfectly. But okay, I played f5, and he did what I wanted him to do. He took on a5. If he takes with a knight, I was going to pin him. b4, e4. I think he's in trouble. Everything opens up. So he played queen takes a5. But then queen c6, and I'm hitting the knight here. And he played knight e1. Now the problem is I'm trapping his queen. That's what happened in the game. So knight e1, rook a8, queen is trapped. And you know, the funny part is, you know, I thought he would realize it and take this. And here I had prepared, you know, in time trouble as always. I was so happy. Bishop takes e5, rook takes e5. I was going to play rook a8. Only one square, rook queen b5. I take the rook, and then I take on a2. Fantastic tactics. When I showed this to my team, they were like, "Wow, you know, I saw this in time trouble," and I must admit, I was impressed with myself. But I don't know if he saw it or figured this was better. I'm not even sure he saw his queen was trapped. He played knight e1. And I play rook a8. His queen is trapped. Doesn't have a square. Taken, and attacked. So had to give up the queen. Queen b5. I activate my bishop. And yeah, basically this looks like more or less like a model game, to be honest. Knight d4, queen c4. Now the knight has to move. He attacked my queen, so of course I didn't have time to take on d3. Knight b4. And e3. Maybe I should have played f4. Could have been interesting as well. But I played e3, f4, and bishop here. I'm threatening to take on d4 and play queen here. He's in trouble. This is move 33. I have 3 minutes. He's down to a minute. So I was playing relatively quickly here to put pressure on him. Like f4, I played bishop d7 immediately, just to put the time pressure on him. And he played the solid move, knight b to c2, which is what you tend to do in Trent. Here I took on d4. I should have taken on a2, and I get a similar version to what happened in the game. Except like if it takes on e3, I take on d4. Knight is pinned. Take on a1. If it takes on c4, I take with jack. I'm up the exchange. Completely winning, so we have this. And with the knight attacked, I'm going to get this pawn. And this passed pawn will decide the game. Instead, I rather quickly on move 34, I took on d4. He took back with the knight. I mean, rook takes d4, queen e2 wins. C takes d4, I take the knight, so he has to play this. And now I take the pawn. Fortunately, he gets the e3 pawn. But things should be good here. This is move 38. I'm still trying to press him. And I played a little bit too quickly here. I played b5. But if I play queen d2, he's in such trouble. What to do? If the rook checks, king f7, and he can't really do anything about this. He's actually in big trouble. Like rook f3, he's basically in Struga here. There's not a lot he can do. Instead I played b5 immediately, and now he's able to kind of, you know, buckle up. Play knight e2, I played this, and we made the time control. Rook e5. Now, having analyzed this with my team, I believe I should have kept the b pawn on, just because it's, you know, it's a little bit more problematic for him to keep, you know, this pawn versus me keeping this one. If I can somehow, yeah, keeping this one. So I'll play b4. Probably not the best move, because it's difficult for me to activate the king. You know, it keeps the rook on the e file. My king is kind of cut off. So I think the only winning try is to somehow try to get the king going like this. And especially now, and I probably should have gone for king g7 here. But first I went for this. I got my queen in. Played this. And probably I can still go for the king march. And there are some chances, you know, if I get the king in, he does nothing, I get the king here. You know, there are some definite zugzags, and my winning chances are based on the fact that, you know, if I check in the right circumstances and he has a zugzag, I can trade my queen for the rook and the knight and win the pawn endgame. But I played this, and now it's kind of, and it's gone. Don't really have much chances here. I played around for a bit, just trying to find something. Oh, actually I played queen a7 here. And king f1, king g6. I was trying to, you know, cheap tricks, hoping he would take jack, take the rook. But he didn't fall for anything, and at the end of it, sorry, I played queen b1 actually, king e3, I made some jacks, and eventually I agreed to a draw here. One reason was that we were out of space on the score sheet, and my team was winning the match. I was kind of waiting, I played on for some moves, kind of waiting to see what happened on the other boards, and once I saw that we couldn't lose the match, we were basically winning it no matter what, then I was happy to make a draw, and I did. So we won the match. So I can't be happy because I thought, I was really happy with my play. I think I played fantastically, the early opening and the middle game, but somehow, things didn't work out. I missed some chances. So, I have to blame myself, but, my opponent, he got a bit lucky that, things turned out for him, because he did not play very well. But such is chess, things don't always go your way. And tomorrow we play one of the weaker teams. They have two guys rated 2400 on ports 1 and 2, which will match up pretty well. We have grandmasters on the top 3 boards, so we should be good there. And their bottom 4 boards are like 18, 17, 18, 1900. They're young kids though, so we can't underestimate them, but it should be an easy game if things go according to plan. But I am black, so it's always tough. And hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.